Morning, Coach Cronin.
Hey, Ben, I'm sorry I missed you the other night, man. I was
No worries. No worries at
catching
all.
up on sleep.
That's what I figured. So big night Saturday for lots of reasons. One of them is it's senior night.
Yes.
I'm wondering if there's a plan for that. Who's going to walk, and if the people walking are still debating their futures, or if there's been commitments, or what the situation is.
No commitments. David's most likely, but he's still not sure what he's going to do. But he's going forward. We're working with him on his grad school admission. But he will walk. Cody will walk. Jules, and the best managerial staff in the country. We have. It's not even close. We have the best managerial staff. When I tell you it's not close. First of all, imagine how smart they are to get into school here. Then tack on the fact that they, on top of the impossible studies they have, what they're doing, what they do every day for our program. So I know people don't really pay attention when those guys come out, but it's a big problem for us because we have like 5 of them. So I know your concern is the guys. So no decisions. Miles walked last year at Rutgers. His program is one that he'll have to finish next year. So, we don't even talk about it right now. Obviously, my hope is he'll play again next year. But he did a senior day, so it's really not on his mind. Cody doesn't like the limelight. I might have to push him out there.
Regardless of who stays or goes, do you figure it could be kind of an emotional night? These guys have been together quite a while now, and they've accomplished a lot. And I know the fans have really grown to love this team.
I would hope so, Ben. Obviously it was terrible. Chris Smith didn't get to have one, with COVID, empty stands. So it's been a while. So these guys, obviously big part of restoring UCLA to an elite program. Obviously all 3 of them monstrous parts of it. I'm sure it'll be emotional for them, big night. And I hope they enjoy it. It's you obviously want to win the game, so you have great memories of your senior night. So that, that it all kind of ties back to that. So you got to find a way to win the game. But, it's what makes, nights like that are what make college basketball special.
Thank you.
You got it, bud.
Let's go to David Woods from Bruin Report next.
Hey, it's Mick. How are you?
Hey, David. How are you?
Good. With Jaime, to kind of my eye, it looks like he's almost adapted his game to being sort of like an old school power forward, especially in this last one, playing in the paint a lot. What does it say about, I don't know if the word is maturity, but what does it say about his ability to kind of adapt to injury limitations in his body to still go out there and be so effective?
Yeah, Jaime's, I would agree with you. I mean, he's definitely had to make some adjustments, because what he's dealt with his body, and still find a way to impact the game, right? So I'd say first of all, he can just score, whether it's inside or out. I mean, he scored, I don't know if he got to 3,000, but I think he had 2,400 points at Camarillo. Although his sister's probably going to get more, but I like to rib him on that. That being said, it speaks to the level of talent he has. And he's just a relentless competitor, David. He's just a relentless competitor. And I couldn't have imagined doing what we've done in our 3 years here as a new coaching staff if we didn't have him to help us get it done. I just don't know where. I shudder to think where we would have been.
So I'm going to say something, and I don't want to jinx him, but he's, I think, 86% from the free throw line over the last couple of weeks after being 70% up to that. Is that just variance, do you think, or is it the fact that he's, not doing full go practice and he's getting more time at the free throw line in practice?
He and Coach, I have the best staff in the country. So Rod works with him. Coach Palmer works with him every day after practice. Jaime's a guy that works on the shooting form, and his commitment to his game is why he's been able to play through the injuries he's dealt with. But he and Coach P have done a really good job. They put in the time. So it's never luck when a guy improves in certain areas. It's just, there are ups and downs and peaks and valleys, but usually there's the stuff that you don't see. So I'm sure you smelled that one out. I mean, he's put a lot of time in that area because he struggled last year from the foul line. So, I give him and Coach Palmer a lot of credit.
All right, let's go to John Kristen from Daily Bruin next.
Hey, Coach. I know
John.
you like talking about Darren Savino, but can you just talk a little bit about what's it like having someone who's been on your staff 14 years during how nice it is to have him during this like turbulent of a season with injuries, COVID? Like, what's it been like to have him with this season?
Well, in general, it's great to have your best friend on the staff. That helps, keeps your sanity. I think it was no secret when he got back with me. We were together at Murray State, then we got back with me at Cincinnati. His arrival, we went to 9 straight tournaments. So here we would be 3 for 3. So at Murray State, we were 1 for 2. So we would have been 3 for 3. So we'd be 13 for 14 together. So it helps my mental state. But the truth about Darren is he should have been a head coach a while ago, but things happen for different reasons in our business. Guys get hot. You got a name because you played somewhere. But everybody's time comes. I think Darren's time is coming. It'll be tough for me to replace that. Not just for my mental state, but Darren's a guy, every day he comes in with a new idea. He knows what I'm thinking. So he's always trying to give me something he thinks I'm not thinking about, knowing that I may or may not use it. And it's just a mentality we have he understands my mentality. It doesn't do any good to complain about Jaime missing free throws. The answer is, how are we going to get better with Jaime's free throws? How are we going to improve them? Or our team, how do we improve our team instead of talking about what our team can't do? So we always try. We just believe there's a way to win. It might be harder than most people are willing to pay the price of what we got to do to win a game. But whether it's not sleep, figure it out. But for me, it'll be tough. But I'm hoping that day comes soon that he's a head coach because he's been more than ready for a long time. I think some people are not maybe suited to it, but Darren is, because he's focused. Like, he doesn't have outside distractions. His 1 through 10 every day is our program, what we need to do. How can we get better? I don't have to tell him to after a game, if we struggle to finish around the rim, I don't have to tell him, hey, we got to show this film to the big guys. He's already going to do it. He's got them after practice down there talking to them, showing them the film, what we got to do to be stronger around the rim, or whatever it may be. So it's nice to have somebody on your staff that's as committed as you are. And he understands that his impact on our program matters. He doesn't just sit around and wait for me to tell him to do something. So it's a luxury for me to have him.
Mm-hmm. And then quick follow-up. I heard he lived in your basement your first year at
That's
Cincinnati.
true. That is true. That is true. And Sammy was 3. So he got, I hired him, that summer, Tony Stubblefield was one of my best friends, doing a great job at DePaul, left. And so I wasn't able to hire Darren until the summer. And I had been recently divorced in a big house. So he just moved in. I needed help anyway. It was, with a 3-year-old daughter. So it was 2 men and a baby. So he didn't realize, though, when you interview and you ask him every day, he had a job. Every night he had to eat peanuts with Sammy at 8:00, and she was not happy if he wasn't there. That's a true story. And she was not happy when he moved out either.
All right, let's go to Sam Cronin from SI next.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
What's up, Sam?
Not much. So I guess your only home losses the past couple of years have been when no fans are there. I think the USC game last year and the Oregon overtime game. But You've won 18 in a row when fans are there, and I think it's going to be sold out this weekend. What are you expecting from the environment, and how nice is that going to be to kind of end the regular season with a bang in terms of having everyone there?
Well, it matters, Sam. It's no excuse for our 2 losses, though. Matters. Matters in recruiting, matters with our players. Anybody can tell you, but you still got to play the game. I think that look, that's the most important thing. But, having a tremendous home court advantage, all you got to do is look at Kansas, for an example of probably their home record in the last 20, 30, through Roy Williams and Bill Self, just for an example of a place, places that have just an unbelievable environment. I saw one last night on TV. I was eating dinner, but it was Arkansas had a crazy environment last night, and they just willed them to victory. They didn't lead to the last 10 seconds, so wouldn't let them give in. But anyway, it matters, Sam. It'll be nice. But that being said, you got to show up and play, so we better make sure we're ready.
I know there's usually a lot of talk about going on the road, preparing for road environments. Do you have to talk to the guys about being prepared for an intense home environment, like not getting too caught up in the crowd or too engaged with things and try to focus a little more on basketball? Or is that just kind of natural for those guys to think?
Yeah, I don't know. No, we kind of focus between the lines. Obviously, I was upset earlier. I think as a staff, we failed having young Mac prepared for what was going on at Arizona. And that's why we take, I'm just as disappointed with myself and my staff, people around for not helping that situation and being prepared for that, but not at home. I think you can feed off the crowd's energy. I think the crowd helped us beat Villanova because we did not play great that night, but we still found a way to win. I think our crowd helped us in that game.
All right, we'll go to Brady McCullough from the LA Times next.
Hey, Mick.
Hello.
I'm working on a story about Coach K and his retirement and coming up here this last home game for him at Cameron. And the thing I'm interested in is just looking at how college hoops is maybe more so than some other sports even has had these individual coaches whose auras kind of towered over the sport for a generation or two. And starting with the guy obviously well.
I'm looking up, you're somebody towering over him. It's still there.
Is John Wooden, obviously, Coach Knight, and then on to Coach K for this last 3 decades. And I'm just curious, do you think with the challenges of building a roster today compared to when those men were coaching and the transfer portal, the one and done, the NIL, all of that, do you think that could Coach K be the kind of last of his kind as far as that having that kind of impact from one coach over the whole sport?
Well, I would throw Coach Boeheim in. Roy Williams retired last year. Coach Huggins got to be close at some point. So what I think what you're asking is, I don't know is the question. I don't see anybody lasting that long because of the things you alluded to, the job. The money's gone up, which is awesome, but the jobs become 365, 24/7, 365 days a year. Coach Wooden used to write guys letters. In fact, I just pulled a quote out of one of his letters that he wrote that I'm putting up in our locker room. He wrote a letter to guys, and then he saw him again in September. He wrote a letter to him after the season about what he was expecting to see him next September. Dean Smith's books, he talked about he lived in the Outer Banks in the summer. The only time he went back to Chapel Hill was to run his camps. Right now, my daughter's asking me about vacation, and I'm looking at the AAU weekends in April, and the high school tournaments that they've now cleared in June, 2 weekends. Then the July recruiting calendar, you got summer workouts, and then you got to bring guys in on visits, and you don't know who's going pro. You can't plan a vacation because you just don't know. And nobody feels sorry for us, nor should they, because of the money we make. But it all leads to somebody, just people throwing up the white flag at some point, right? I mean, that's just the way it is now. So, because if you don't love it all and lean into it all, you're not going to be able to tower over the sport like Coach K has. So I would contend that that's part of his walk away, whether he says it or not. Same with Coach Williams. When he said, "I'm not the guy anymore," I know what he meant, because he's not the guy that wants to do that stuff all, nonstop. And I don't blame them at their age and what they've accomplished.
Last thing, what do you think it is about Coach K, beyond obviously the winning, but that had him rise up like he did, just as this cultural kind of figure for the sport?
Well, it's tough because I don't have a relationship with him, but I have respect for him. So it's really hard for me to answer that. I could maybe say, it surely helped when they gave him the Olympic coaching job. I think that was probably transcended outside of a college coach.
All right, let's finish up here with Ben.
Two things. Johnny, is Johnny good for Saturday?
We'll know on Saturday, buddy.
Okay.
He is today.
And then
I'd say 50-50, Ben.
okay. And then just I was wondering your opinion, just my eye test, when I see Jalen and Miles together on the court, it feels like it's your best defensive lineup when they're out there together. Do you agree with that? And what's your take on what they give on that end of the court?
Well, look, Jalen Clark's one of the best defensive players in America. Miles gives us size. Now, there's times I would say it would depend on who we're playing. Because if we need to switch, Cody's would be more apt to be able to switch on the smaller guys. But to your point, obviously with Miles adding his size, and I would trust your palate test on a Pinot Noir better than your eye test.
Well, on that note, Coach, thanks for your time.
All right, guys. See you.